Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're back in War Thunder, and it's time to look at a little bit of news. So, a few days ago, there was some, Steam achievement pictures, which are in the files for War Thunder now. Now, if you don't use Steam, one of the key things about the whole system, at least for a lot of people, is this idea of achievements and badges, basically ways of being able to kind of get your level up on Steam itself. I believe I'm about level 8 or something. I don't really care too much for achievements, but generally they're very good at being used as signs to come. Now, what a lot of companies do is they actually lock the Steam achievements on Steam itself, so you can't see them. They're secret achievements, and the reason for doing this is so the player doesn't just focus on the achievements, they focus on the gameplay and the story and everything. And then when it comes to War Thunder, well, we have data miners, so therefore we can find them out in the files themselves. So this comes from jsec0101 on the War Thunder Reddit, and he has data mined these pictures from the logs is the wrong idea, but the game files. And generally, the best way to look at this is it is a sign of what may come in the future. Now, obviously, we don't know when, but it's good to cogitate about, especially now that we have had confirmation that the next major update is going to be in May sometime. So we're talking about less than a month. So we're having quite a big turnaround compared to when update 1.79 came out. Update 1.77 to update 1.75. Now it seems like they're hammering down the sickle and being able to pump them out, quite regularly. So this is going to be a shorter video talking about this stuff. There will be another video today which will talk about the new economic system and I think a better way forward for it, but this one will just have some thoughts about this. Now, the first one that a lot of people have brought up, and of course JSEC himself brings up, is it looks like there's an F4 Phantom in the top of here. A lot of people have been talking about rank 6 aircraft coming to the game, but the first thing that you must understand is this picture does not necessarily say that rank 6 aircraft are coming. Because of it, it also has in it what looks like an M1 Abrams. And if it isn't an M1 Abrams, it is a Leopard, or it is some other rank 6 machine that I just can't tell what it is. To me, it looks like an Abrams, but the gun itself looks a little bit off to me. The main thing is, we already have rank 6 vehicles in the game, so in order to put this in, it makes sense, because you want people to get achievements for playing the game. Instead of just focusing on grinding, you want to try and create a scenario where they're focused on more stuff than just one thing, which is why we have the Warbond shop, the decals, now the workshop stuff, the events and everything, and achievements are just another one of those things to throw into the bag. Now, on top of this, if we look at some of the other ones, this is known as the 100 battles on rank 6. So these are the ones for the other ranks. So as you can see, win 100 battles rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, and rank 5. So this is just adding to the list of stuff. It seems like we have a BT, some kind of biplane, what looks like a P-40 Kitty Hawk, a Sherman, Tiger, Junkers 87, Churchill, Spitfire, the T6... I don't want to say T-64, but to me it looks like a T-64. It could also be a T-10. You have the MiG, of course, or a Levechkin, 174, something like that. So what is the common theme that you can see through all of these, which is shown, right? So the first one, we have an unknown biplane and a BT, or something that looks very much like a BT. They could also be the Japanese in the form of like a GC, but basically we can't really tell what it is from the biplane. If we look at rank 2, we have the Kitty Hawk and the Sherman, both American vehicles. Rank 3, the Ju-87, the Tiger, 2 German vehicles. Rank 4, an obvious Churchill and a Spitfire. So, once again, 2 of the same nation's vehicles, and in this, either a MiG or a Levechkin, or a Yak-30, whatever it is. It's very distinctly Russian, but it could be anything. And then what seems to be a Russian tank, in my opinion, probably something like the T-64 before it got changed. It could also be the T-10M. I'm not sure. All I know is that it's Soviet because it fits the pattern of the rest of them. So looking at that as a guideline, if we believe this is an Abrams, we'll just zoom in a little bit. It could be an Abrams. It looks like an Abrams. This has to be an American aircraft, because it follows the pattern of what we talked about here, where the corresponding aircraft actually corresponds to the tank on the ground. So people saying it's the F4 Phantom, they may be completely right, because it fits the bill. Now, there are other vehicles which it may be, but the F4 Phantom seems to be the one which a lot of people are focusing on, mainly because it was part of that leak which came out saying that they were going to have all of these Rank 6 aircraft in update 1.77. Now, obviously that didn't happen, but it's still on people's minds. So that is something to take into account when we look at this. But the main thing to understand right now is a good reason to put these achievements in is because we have Rank 6 vehicles. So people who are playing Rank 6 now, even though planes aren't in yet, can get this achievement and finish off each achievement tier, which, you know, we can already see. Now, I've just realized that my camera is in the way of the achievement. Is it? No, it's not. Never mind. So, with that all said, when we look at this overall, I don't think it's confirmation that Rank 6 jets is coming anytime soon. We've had a... Yes. We've had a Q&A where Anton's brother, the clone of Anton, who was talking about their difficulties that they were having at Rank 6 when it came to aircraft. Now, obviously, there is a ton of new mechanics that they're going to have to add, and they're going to have to be incredibly balanced. Because, unfortunately, when you start adding a ton of stuff at the same time, which is something you're going to have to do with these vehicles, because there was really... You think tank tech, like from, let's say, the 50s to the 70s got crazy? Just go and look at the tech of 50s jets to 70s and 80s jets, and you'll understand where this issue comes in. There's a lot of mechanics for tanks at Rank 6 you can kind of miss out, because from a gameplay point of view, it could actually make the experience a hell of a lot worse for specific vehicles. But with aircraft, that is not something you can do, because otherwise the whole system doesn't make any sense for that aircraft. I will do a video in talking about mechanics that will be added, or should be added, I should say, to Rank 6 aircraft to try and make you understand what I'm talking about here. But yeah, for me this isn't confirmation. This is just because we've had Rank 6 tanks, and therefore why not put something like that in? We also had confirmation from the Twitter guy saying that they were having issues with Rank 6 stuff as well. I personally don't take Twitter and Facebook as good places for information like that, but it was confirmed in that serious Q&A they did. On top of this, we do have some other ones which may link to the fact of the, you know, just being tanks right now for Rank 6. So we have stuff for 50 units of France. This corresponds to the this stuff: Soviet collection, US collection, British collection, German collection, as you can see, these ones right here, and Japanese. The two we're missing is Italy and France. Now, France actually has 50 vehicles. Italy doesn't. I believe it has around 30 vehicles when it comes to its aircraft. So this, to me, is much more of an indication that Italy ground forces is going to be coming soon. Because the 100 battles on Rank 6, it can actually be achieved right now. Because we have Rank 6 vehicles. We don't have Rank 6 planes, but we have Rank 6 tanks. When it comes to the 50 units of France, in update 1.75, we saw French tanks. I believe 1.73 was French aircraft. There's 50 units there, easily. when we look at Italian vehicles, all we have is the aircraft, and there isn't enough of them to actually have 50 units in the game. So this is the first achievement that we've seen in the system which you cannot actually complete, which is kind of funny, but it is also a show of where we're going into the future. Pretty much this set of achievements sets up what a lot of people have been talking about for a very long time, with where the game is going and the major content which is going to come out in the next year or so. The next achievement is, of course, the Destroy Boats by Ramming. A little fun achievement. If you actually go through the other achievements that we have here, there are some other ones like that, so sink 5 aircraft carriers. But the main ones is, there's one where it's like kill an enemy after you die, and if you go to the Steam achievements, here it is, and the percentage of players which actually have these achievements, Vengeful Spirits is top, which is kind of funny. I'll actually show it here now. There we go. So we go to this one, I believe. Yes, so as you can see, Vengeful Spirits is the one which the majority or the most percentage of players have actually completed, which is kind of hilarious. And then Element of Surprise is second, which is capturing enemy strategic points with hostile team players in direct vision, which is kind of funny. And then Treasure Hunter opened 10 chests. So yeah, I found that very funny and very interesting that is the highest earned achievement on Steam for War Thunder. But then, moving on, sorry. So this seems to be in the same vein as that, where they seem to believe that people are going to get, kills by ramming others. Now, obviously, this will happen over time, but, it's not going to be the easiest achievement to get. It also is a good sign that Naval is coming out at some point in the future, which we all knew. I mean, they talked about the open beta test being pretty soon. If I'm going to put my marbles on one of these, basically we have 3 things here which are going to be 3 major releases. We have Rank 6 aircraft, we have the Italian ground, and we have ships in an open beta sense. Now, for me personally, I would put my marbles on the open beta for ships being the one which is coming out in May, in the major updates. If the major update is not just a spring cleaning update, which it may be, because we have had some of them in the past. But if I'm going to put my money on something, it's going to be ships. Ships right now is obviously the thing we've seen the most. I've personally seen it in a closed beta state. When it comes to actually the mechanics of what they're going for, it seems to work incredibly well. The optimization for me personally is a little bit off, but then again, that might just be my rig dying. And overall, it just seems like we just know the most information about it. I understand that they've gone through a lot of changes, especially when it comes to the destroyers coming in, the want for bigger ships, the difference in mechanics that they've added, submarines being thought about, all of these wonderful things. But it still is in its most complete state, or at least of what we know about, compared to Rank 6 aircraft, which all we've known recently is that they've tested them over the last year, and Italian tanks, which we've been told continuously, they're coming at some point. We're just having a few issues. The second to last achievement is the Steam Trophy Destroy Destroyers on boat. My guess there is kind of a Thingy and Goliath. Is it Jason and Goliath? Oh god, I'm gonna get a lot of angry people. So, the little man and Goliath. You know the story, the biblical story. Here, let's get it so I don't get shouted at by somebody. Goliath... David, there we go. The man's name is Dave. Now, David had a slingshot. Goliath was a big man. Basically, David was able to bring down the giant, showing that the moral of the story is, even if somebody is bigger than you, is stronger than you, if you think about it, you can still take them down. There is this element where it isn't just the biggest and the brutish who are going to rule, it is also the ones who can think at the same time. That's basically the takeaway from it. Now, let's put that in War Thunder. So in War Thunder, you have PT boats. You also have destroyers. Destroyers manhandle PT boats massively right now in the game. I understand the arguments where PT boats can be sneaky. They can wait behind areas for the destroyers to come, but the destroyers won't come because they'll know that they're waiting for you, and nobody will go on PT boats because they'll get annihilated by secondary arms and also one hit from a destroyer. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a ton of destroyers in the maps, and that's about it. Now, if they separate them by BR, then maybe you see some PT boats at the lower tiers, but I'm guessing people are going to just blitz through them to get to the destroyers. And also, if they want to put them together, nobody will play them, unless there is a map completely dedicated to them, and the destroyers are at a huge disadvantage for being on that map compared to a PT boat, but that's just not going to happen. So, when we look at this achievement, it seems like we have a David and Goliath situation. We have the PT boat going after the destroyers. You can see that there is no achievement for destroyers attacking PT boats because it's going to be happening all the time. But when it comes to the PT boat killing a destroyer, it will definitely be a dime a dozen. So in that sense, it's nice that they're creating an achievement to try and push people towards using PT boats against destroyers. They've obviously seen that there is at least a little issue with PT boats and destroyers being on the same map. They don't mix. Destroyers just annihilate the PT boats. So we'll have to see in the future how they address this. It seems like in an achievement sense, at least there's a reason why you may want to play PT boats, but I'm personally going to need a little bit more. The last one is just a standard destroy players by artillery. Now, I thought we already had an achievement like this, which is why I was kind of surprised to see something like this, but I must be wrong, because we don't. So, yeah, it's kind of as simple as that. It's nice to see that we have an artillery achievement now, especially after the changes that were made. And here we go. No, these are the actual things. Here we go. So, yeah, we don't have an artillery machine, or achievement, I should say, so adding that in makes sense. That is a mechanic which has been around for a while. It's been changed over many iterations of the game, and hopefully now it's in a state where it is stable and not going to change that much. I still think there's an issue with it, especially at rank 1, because vehicles in general will just get annihilated by artillery, especially if you have a good squad of 3 or 4 people who all cannon it on one place. They're going to annihilate anything that's there, and the artillery will not take any mercy. But it is nice to see that it is represented. At higher tiers, when you get a kill with artillery, it is very much a, oh, well, that was nice, instead of a, hell yeah, that should have happened kind of thing. But to have an achievement which is cumulatively going to gain you that achievement over time, very much like a kills achievement or an assist achievement, I like those achievements because it means the players who play a lot of the game actually get them. That's why stuff like God of War is kind of cool. And, you know, Ace and things like that. Because it means that you have to put in a lot of effort in order to get that achievement. Meaning that wearing it on your shoulder can definitely... you can have a bit of pride on it. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the new achievements. Which aren't in the game yet. Remember, these are in the files themselves. I'm sure they'll come out pretty soon. I'll be incredibly surprised if we don't see them before update 1.79, or at least some of them. The rank 6 ones will probably come out pretty soon. The Italian vehicles one, maybe not, since we don't have Italian vehicles. The French one, I mean, you could just put in now. The ships ones will probably come out in open beta when that hits. And overall, a nice little thing for collectors out there. I mean, I know a few people on Steam who really like the achievement system. I personally don't really care too much about it, but I know a lot of people do. So it's nice to see there's a little bit of a head nod to them, so they can get on cracking with these things and they haven't been forgotten about. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.